Hello, good morning. I welcome you all to today's session. And today I'm going to talk on a very important topic. I welcome you all to my channel. And dear friends, today I'm going to talk about globalization. So, as you know, globalization has become very famous and very popular in the contemporary society. And many people are talking about globalization. Though the term globalization is used mostly in the context of economy, it has many more dimensions like political dimensions, cultural dimensions, social dimensions, religious dimensions, etc. So today I am going to talk very briefly about what is globalization, what are the definitions of globalization, and what are the dimensions of globalization. Besides than that, I shall very briefly talk about the perspectives and consequences of globalization. So dear friends, let's start. Now, how do you see globalization? What is globalization? Do globalization come in the present society or also it was present in earlier society? There are a lot many debates, there are a lot many discussions, conferences, seminars which have been organized in the concept of globalization. But basically, if you look at the term globalization, we can see that it is mostly about the process in which a business begin operating internationally. So it's an international market, it's an international uh, scenario in which globalization operates. It's basically about integrating the national economy with the world economy, and the term globalization is applied in economic context, in political context, in social context, and it has encompasses to various phenomena of our day-to-day life. For example, if you see people eating the food of foreign countries, let us talk about chow mein, or you talk about an Indian eating chow mein and a uh, Canadian or an American eating Italian dosa. So this kind of food transformation, and if you look at the to this society, then that also yoga has become internationally very popular, and one of the attributes can be given to globalization, the contribution of globalization in making yoga so popular worldwide. So globalization, when we talk about, is a transmission of ideas, values, and meaning across the world. So nowadays, if you see, due to the increased level of transportation, due to increased level of communication, we find transmission of ideas and values and meaning very quickly. When ideas is spreading very quickly, the values are spreading very quickly, and globalization can be seen as a worldwide movement towards economic, financial, communications, and trade integration. So it is an integration of the economic situation, it's an integration of financial conditions, it's an integration of communications and trade. So if we look at some of the definitions of globalization, like Henderson has defined globalization in the context of two phenomena. The first one is it's about free movement of goods, services, labor, and capital, resulting in a single market input and output. So, globalization as an economic phenomenon talks about free movement of goods and services, labor and capital, which result in a single market input and output. And secondly, it's about full national treatment of foreign investors as well as national investors. So the treatment should not be like a foreigner, but rather in everywhere in the world, each one is treated equally in the context of globalization. Now, Anthony Giddens says that globalization is the intensification of worldwide social relation by which far away places are linked together in such a way that events in one place are affected by the process taking place many miles away and vice versa. So if we look at today, the whole world has become a village, and we use the term global village. So the whole globe is just like a village, and what happens in one part of the world affects the rest of the world. For example, the war between Russia and Ukraine, that is not only impacting just Russia and Ukraine, rather it has an impact on the whole world. So whatever happens in one part of the world, it affects the rest of the world. So now we cannot say that we are separate and we are segregated. Rather, the whole world is connected in such a manner that what happens in one place of the world, it affects the rest of the world. Well, so if we look at the various dimensions of globalization, globalization has economic dimension, it has social dimension, it has political dimension, it has environmental dimension, and it has cultural dimensions. These are some of the important five dimensions of globalization. So globalization is no more limited to economic phenomena, rather economically it's about integration of the national economy with the world economy, and uh, people who support globalization, they talk about the supply demand market more, and economically the supply demand chain can fulfill the economic needs of the people. So also in social phenomena, we find lot many changes in the society that are happening because of globalization. The society has affected, the society has been affected a lot by the concept of globalization. So people's dressing sense, people's food habits, people dancing, music, everything has changed to a great extent because of globalization. And people are nowadays exposed to more situations. Politically, also, if you look at the political decisions which are made at international level, uh, many political decisions are affected by globalization. The political decisions of a country is also very much linked with the international politics and international relations. So politically, also globalization has a bigger impact, and there is a huge political dimensions of globalization. Almost all the political decisions taken are, are not free from globalization. Well, if you look at culture, culture has changed to a great extent, and nowadays people are also talking about hybrid culture. That the culture is not a distinctive culture which can be related to one particular world or one particular state or one particular, geographical location. Rather, the culture has become mixed up with cultural traits of different countries. So in the process of this cultural integration, we are perhaps having a hybrid culture where we find cultural traits of different countries. The culture of which are tribal culture. This culture is also at stake because many youth belonging from tribal areas are you know preferring to be exposed to the pop music or the Bollywood music. So that is one kind of thing that is happening because of globalization. So globalization has entered into every phenomenon of life. And in the environmental context also, when we talk about climate change, when we talk about global warming, definitely due to more number of investment, more number of industries and factories, more number of companies working in different parts of the world because of globalization, it has also an impact of an impact on environment. So we cannot neglect about the environmental dimensions of globalization when we discuss the dimensions of globalization. So very briefly, if you look at globalization has economic dimension, it has social dimension, it has political dimension, it has cultural dimension, and it has environmental dimensions. Now, if you look at the pros and cons of globalization, we cannot say that globalization has brought only positive changes. Rather, globalization has both positive as well as negative impact on the society. Some of the positive things when we talk about globalization, this includes free flow of capital, wide market for companies, greater source for information, cultural intermingling. But when we talk about some of the negative side of globalization, there is a widening gap between rich and poor. There is increased rate of unemployment, that is loss of domestic industries and dominance of foreign industries. So these are some of the consequences of globalization. So dear friends, this much for today's session. I hope you'd like it, and please subscribe to my channel for more lectures and updates. Thank you very much.